Hi, I'm Pav.
And I'm Neil.
And welcome to the Top 10 of Anything podcast.
Let's start the countdown.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So we'll start with you, Stig. What's your number 10 TV anti-hero?
So my number 10 is Ragnar Lothbrok from Vikings.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, so this is a bit out. I kind of threw this one in last minute. It was teetering on there, and I thought, do you know what? No, I think he's a really good anti-hero because obviously he's based on a real-life Viking who was one of the first to explore places like France and England. But I think what makes him a good anti-hero is that he's a really complex character, and he clearly does hero things, but he's a Viking at the end of the day, and we kind of know what Vikings do or did. You know, there's a lot of raiding, pillaging, killing, and sacking of lands. But the show presents him as a hero. He's a hero for his people. He's worshipped by the people in Kattegat. He's revered throughout Norway. That's how the show presents him to us. It does a very good job of, he's leading armies into England and France, but the show does a very good job of showing other Vikings doing the bad stuff and never presenting him doing that. But at the center of it, he's in charge. He's the man that's driving his people to go and do that. And I just think that he's a real great, like I said before, he's a character that you love to get behind and you love to see succeed, because the French and the British, they're seen as the bad guys in Vikings, and Ragnar's the hero, but he isn't really. He's doing bad things to innocent people for personal gain at the end of the day.
To be fair, we said this during the movie villain, or the TV villain episode, is that a good villain is somebody that, from their point of view, they're doing the right thing. They don't think they're a villain with what they're doing. They're doing what they believe in. See, the one thing with Vikings, I think I watched the first series and thought it was really good, and I don't understand why I never carried it on. How many series has there been now?
I think there is 6 or 7, and now there's a spin-off one which is set about 100 years down the line.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, it's really good. Like, the show does like a time jump, so you kind of, his sons who are kids within, I think, season 3, by the time season 4 they're like grown adults, so it skips a lot.
Yeah, it's a show I've never seen. Is it? Somebody told me it's really, I should watch it because I might enjoy it. It's quite brutal.
Oh yeah. A lot of really good, considering it came out around the same time of Game of Thrones. It was doing a lot until Game of Thrones got all the money. It was doing better things with battle scenes and stuff like that. You actually got to see them, and huge, Viking wars happening. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I need to pick that back up, because is that on Netflix? Is it Netflix that it was on?
It was. I don't know if it is anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's on Prime now.
It might be on Prime.
Yeah.
Prime. Okay, that's a good one to start off with. Go on then, Neil. You're number 10.
So it's just a good old classic Buffy, and it's Spike from Buffy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, this is a real villain that turned into a semi-good guy, I suppose. Now, I rewatched Buffy in the lockdown. I didn't get through all of the series because there's a lot to watch, but I did get quite a way in. And when I first watched Buffy, I found Spike, I thought he was an appalling actor. I always felt the English accent was really ropey, but watching it back now, I really sort of enjoyed it more, and it's very, very pantomime villain is what he is, and enjoy it. And I think he gets a lot of the best lines in the series. Not to say it, also to say he gets with Buffy herself. Are you a fan of Buffy, both of you?
Oh yeah, I loved it.
Yeah,
I used to watch it because my wife was mad on Buffy, and then obviously after that, Angel. So I sort of watched it by proxy, kind of thing.
I was really surprised how well it held up, because obviously it was the 90s when it first came out, wasn't it? And I thought, I didn't think it dated too bad. Apart from the first series, if you go back and watch it, it's very dark. It's hard to see some of the things, even with the new TVs and everything. It was very dark. But Spike, I think, was a great character. there was we talked about arcs. There was a perfect example of him being the arc of being the real bad guy from series 2 through, and then slowly becoming, well, the anti-hero of the piece, wasn't he? So,
what happened to him at the end of Buffy?
Didn't he go off to Angel? To the series?
The loads of them moved back and forth, and I can't remember, because I did similar to you. Several years ago, we started a rewatch, and for some reason, I think we just burnt out on it because we were every night it was like, we'll have a couple of episodes, and then eventually we got to the latter series, and we just kind of drifted off and never finished it again.
But that was in the days. That was in the days of like 22, 24 episodes a season, wasn't it? Where they don't do that anymore. No. The Americans have followed the sort of British thing of 6 to maybe 10 episodes in the season. Yeah, because I think we've still got them all on DVD up in the loft, and they were like just big, thick books of
they really are. They're a good 45-minute, 50-minute episodes as well.
Yeah.
But some great episodes out there, and I would say anybody that's never watched it, I would recommend delving in and seeing a bit of that, especially, I know we really shouldn't talk about him much, but Joss Whedon, when he was in his prime, doing great things.
Yeah. And also one of the greatest musical episodes of TV ever, with that Once More with Feeling, was just some great songs. Spike had one of the best songs in that as well. Okay, my number 10 is a comedy character that we've known throughout the ages and centuries. It's Edmund Blackadder.
Oh, it's my number 9.
Is that your number 9?
Yeah.
Okay, we've got one already. That's good. Mainly for the fact that he's pretty much a shit all the way through
apart from the first series, though, isn't he?
Well, no, he was an idiot in the first series, wasn't he? But he still wanted. He got to the point where he wanted power, didn't he? And he was going to lie and be deceitful no matter what. So he was like that all the way through, even the Christmas special, where he starts off as a good person, but then realizes being good is no good to anybody. So you might as well just be a shit and be nasty to people, and you get more out of it. So I think he's one of those classic characters that he didn't really have an arc, I don't think. I think he was just devious all through the centuries.
He was.
Of the different characters that he was. Different levels of stupidity, maybe. I think he became more cunning the older, as the series went on. But I think he was just always looking out for himself, didn't care about anybody else. He just wanted to either get money for himself or power or position for himself. So I think but then you also root for him a little bit because he's very clever as well. He's wily like a fox.
Well, he thinks he's clever.
I suppose, I wouldn't say he's got the level of like Laurel and Hardy where they're both as thick as each other, but they both think that I suppose Hardy thinks he's clever and Laurel just doesn't know what clever means.
Well, he doesn't think, does he?
No. Whereas, you're probably right in that Blackadder does think that he's the cleverest person in the room, where he's probably not most of the time. Anyway, Alice, your number 9, please.
Number 9. Okay, this is probably my most mainstream, probably most recognizable one. But yeah, number 9 it is. Are you not entertained?
No.
Had to do it. Again, another one that you just say. You say in everyday life when you do something stupid or you think you've done something funny or whatever. It's like, you're not entertained. But yeah, brilliant. I really like that film. It's just a great moment. It gives me goosebumps every time. Just that moment. There's just something so powerful, so raw about it. And I'm always I'm a little bit on the fence about Russell Crowe. I don't always feel super convinced by him, and I don't love everything that he's in. But in that moment especially, I just think he's brilliant.
Completely agree.
I think that's him at his absolute top of his game. I think, he's just fantastic in that movie.
We went through that period, didn't he, from in the early 2000s. He's just been in so many great movies.
It's from Gladiator. Sorry, I realised I don't think he's forgetting to say what the film is. What if someone hasn't seen Gladiator?
Well, we slapped them.
Sorry, guys.
Your impersonation was perfect. Everyone would know who
nailed it. Nailed it. That's Russ, that.
That is, Yeah, but I think he's somebody now that is obviously he's had great success. Now he just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah,
he'll just do whatever movies he wants to do. I mean, I think he's the best thing in Thor: Love and Thunder.
I still haven't watched it yet.
Have you not watched it yet?
No,
but he's just so over the top. Let me put it that way. He's just so over the top.
Well, he can be, can't he? I mean,
But he can be.
that film, The Man, was it The Man with the Iron Fist that he did? I ended up watching that, which is martial arts movie, and he was in that, and he was hamming that up.
That's right. Yeah. That's a great one. Okay, Neil, your number 9, please.
Right, so let's get tense. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Okay.
I'm going to say it's Die Hard, just in case people are like, oh, I thought that was from the Paddington movies. But and I know I've been saying it since I heard it in the movie. I know it's really cliched and people shouldn't, but I still do let the odd one come out, especially if I'm excited.
Oh, really?
But it's
I normally say, "Are you not entertained?" And then there's normally silence. So
but it's a great line, and the fact that they tried to show Die Hard early before the Watershed years ago, and they put Yippee-ki-yay Melon Farmer instead, didn't they?
Really? Did that really happen?
Yeah, that's what they overdubbed it with. Just makes it even better. I mean,
wow.
Yeah, and Maggot Farmer they used once, all sorts of things. It's like,
that's
Jesus.
funny.
But it's a great line, isn't it? From probably one of the best action movies ever made.
Yeah,
simple but really effective.
Yeah.
Similar with your James Bond one as well. Like they're really, they're just to the point, aren't they?
Yeah,
no mistaking.
Yeah, you know exactly what it's from.
And I think, I've got one a little bit later on in my top 10 where, like you said, Alice, they're succinct and to the point. And I think if a normal person wrote them, it would be like 5 or 6 lines of dialogue between two people. Whereas these writers know how to do it in like one line, or a quick line from me and a quick line from you. And you've said everything you need to say. That mere mortals would just take paragraphs and paragraphs of writing and well, how are you? I'm fine. How are you? I'm all right. Yeah. I'll go, what's going on then? Just those little points, boom, succinct and iconic.
Yeah, real skill to that, to try and convey like all that meaning in such a short space of time. And I think Yippee-ki-yay motherfucker really, it does do that, because the Yippee-ki-yay is so silly and daft and like almost playful, and then the motherfucker is just kind of like, nah man, I'm fucking John McClane, you know me, bitch.
Exactly.
Sort of thing, isn't
But
it?
it links in, isn't it? If you listen to the conversation he's having over the walkie-talkies, it is because he thinks he's a Cary Grant,
Roy Rogers, isn't it?
Roy Rogers, isn't it?
Roy Rogers, yeah.
And
then the thing is, they even watered it down in the Die Hard movies as they went on, didn't they? I think in number 4 and number 5, he never actually said Yippee-ki-yay motherfucker. He got like, as he was about to say it, they cut, and it's like, why? Just let
because they made it 12s.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah,
it
an 18 movie.
It was supposed to be the John McClane version of James Bond, wasn't it? That's like his calling card.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I completely agree. Good one, Neil. Good one.
Very good.
My number 9 is Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
That's my number 8.
Yay! I knew
That's fun. What is that from? Sorry, I don't
That's
recognize
Dr. Strangelove.
Oh, okay. It's Doctor Strange love. Dr. Strange love. You know Doctor Strange. It's like, oh yeah, see it. Benedict Cumberbatch. Yeah. Seen it.
Yeah. It's Doctor Strangelove. It's
Northern Path.
It is. But it's again.
It's a bloody funny line.
It's a great line. It's a great line.
Such a funny, and the fact that it's just the whole meaning towards it is just so funny. It's a great movie, though. Great movie. Full of great lines.
Indeed. Indeed. And I think it's one of Peter Sellers' like greatest performances in like what 2 or 3. Is it 2 or 3 roles he has in that movie?
3, isn't it?
3, I think, isn't it? Yeah. But yeah, and Stanley Kubrick doing sort of like a black comedy is
a black comedy that is probably the funniest black comedy I think I've ever seen, because it's pure laugh out loud, isn't it?
It is, but it's also unsettling as well.
In that and relevant again,
that Kubrick kind of way, unrelevant. Yeah.
Have you ever seen this one, Alice?
I haven't, but it's on my list of things that I need to watch, because I do like stuff that is about war. I like war films, but then I also kind of like, anything that's to do with like the threat of war and stuff, and nuclear weapons and all that is all very interesting. But no, I've no idea.
Off your tits at the moment in real life, then.
Oh yeah, I'm loving it. I'm just like watching it all, like, oh yeah, here we go, it's happening. But they're doing. Cillian Murphy's going to be in it. One about the guy who invented the atom bomb or the nuclear bomb.
Oh yes, what's it going
to be called? I can't remember. What's the guy's name?
Oh yeah, that's a Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah, but what's the name of the guy who invented the bomb? It's like so iconic and famous. I can't think of what it's called.
It is.
Is that right?
I'll know it when you say it.
It is Tennant. Oh no, that's what. No,
that's not.
David Tennant. That's what it is.
David
Oppenheimer.
That's it. So is that character in Doctor Strangelove? Is it like is the character of like is he in it, or is it not about that? Have I just completely misunderstood what the film's about? So I thought the film was based on him and like a take on his life sort of thing. And
there's a few of them. There's like the general who's based on from the anniversary today of recording, the Cuban Missile Crisis 60 years ago, isn't it? And there was one of the generals which kept saying to Kennedy at the time, we must go to war with them over this. We must respond straight away with bombs. And Kennedy was like, no, we're not going to. And he's based on there. I'm not sure about that.
No, it doesn't look like it. I think they're all made up names.
I'm misremembering things. I should watch that film.
Yeah, they're sort of parodies of people that were really around, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
General Buck Turgidson. I mean, someone with turgid in his name is General Jack D. Ripper. Is one of the names.
Very good.
But is it George C. Scott, isn't it?
George C. Scott plays Turgidson, yeah.
Yeah, he's the one. He's a real warmonger and he's very good in the role.
Mm.
So back to you, Rick, for your number 8, please.
All right, so my number 8 is, again, it's one that didn't grab me at first, actually, from the Tom Cruise pantheon, but I watched it a few times since, and it's Last Samurai.
Oh, okay. This nearly made it onto my list.
Yeah, and just like you were saying before, Pav, actually, it's for me, it's a more grown-up Cruise. I really like the fact that it's number one, it's a drama around a clash of culture, which I think for a Hollywood movie is quite interesting. They're not very patriotic in it. It's a very un-American tub-thumping movie because they are very much saying, look, there's two sides to every story here. Obviously, he gets captured. I don't know if you know the story, but he's in the US Army. He gets captured by the samurai, and he sort of learns their ways. But because he can't speak their language, and because they either can't or don't want to speak English to him, there's a lot of physical acting in it, and there's a lot of movements and sort of it's a very sort of there's moments when the movie where he's wandering around and there's no word spoken, but it's all about them sizing him up and him sizing them up, and it's kind of fascinating to watch. I quite like that, and it's something I haven't really seen from Cruise before because he is very chatterboxy and when he gets the lines. But there's a fantastic moment in it where he's been wandered around the camp and with this bodyguard, this Japanese bodyguard, and you think, okay, well, obviously the bodyguard's there to stop him having a go at the Japanese samurai and the people who live there, but it's the other way around. They've given him a bodyguard because they think we might get attacked, and it's that assumption that it challenges. And I really like that. I think that's a really clever sort of movie, and I just really like the way he acts in it. And yeah, it's just more complicated than enemies just being enemies. There's lots of grey areas, and it's just a very beautifully shot movie as well. And he looks, I think he looks pretty sexy in it as well. Do you know what I mean? He's got
the longer hair, hasn't he?
He's got the longer hair and he's got his armor on. I'm just like, you look pretty cool in it. But again, yeah, just kind of one of those ones that's crept up on me, I think.
Was that an Ed Zwick movie, wasn't it?
I don't know. I did look up quite a lot of who did this, but I don't know, actually. Yeah.
Ed Zwick, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
But I love the relationship between him and Billy Connolly.
Yes, it was. It was Ed Zwick. Yeah,
yeah. Right. They seem to have bonded, but it sort of showed when there's a great the clip that you probably find it on YouTube. I've seen it many times of when Tom Cruise was on the Parkinson show. They're promoting it, and then obviously Billy Connolly came on. I've never seen somebody genuinely laugh for as long as Tom Cruise with Billy Connolly. It's a great clips, and it shows that they probably did strike up quite a good friendship while making it, which is quite sweet.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And it's got our favourite Neil, Ken Watanabe's in it as well.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
Watanabe.
Yeah, he plays like the elder of the samurai, doesn't he? And there's a whole.
Yes.
And he gets. I think Tom Cruise. Obviously, there's a romance in there. He gets involved with his daughter at one point, I think, doesn't he? And he's a bit like, "Don't you?"
Yeah, it's been a while, but again, another visually stunning movie. And
beautiful.
Great,
I always find that it was very similar to Dances with Wolves. That was the thing that I think maybe sort of turned me off it a little bit, because I'm a big Kevin Costner fan, and I think it was that I hadn't quite turned into liking Tom Cruise as much then. I thought it's a rip-off. It's just a samurai version of that. But no, it's a good one.
I know what you mean. Actually, it was weirdly my mum that told me to watch it. She was like, "You need to watch this movie with Tom Cruise. It's very good." And I was a bit like, I don't know, it looks a bit iffy, that, but it's grown on me. I'd give it a watch. It's good.
Oh, good. Okay. Go on then, Neil, number 8.
Vanilla Sky. I love the surrealism of this movie. I really do. Open Your Eyes was the original Spanish film with Penelope Cruz. I think was in that one as well, wasn't she? Which I'd seen years and years before and completely forgotten until this one came out, and then people said it was a remake, and then you could see the links between it. But again, it's another good performance by Tom Cruise, and again, another visually stunning movie. That whole Times Square bit when he's on his own is a joy to behold, as I suppose some people would say. It's a confusing plot line, isn't it? It's almost did they, didn't they? What's real, what's not real, sort of thing. Have you seen this one, Pav?
Not all the way through. No. I've seen bits of it. So. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. And then it's probably not a good film to see halfway through if it's confusing. No,
you'll probably be sat there going, I have no idea what's going on right now.
I'd probably be saying that if I'd watched all of it, to be perfect.
Yeah, well, you do in bits. Rick will probably testify. You really do. It's a confusing movie, let's put it that way, but it's enjoyable nonetheless. And everybody that's in it is really, really good. And again, it's Cameron Crowe again.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, real departure from his usual stuff, because he's quite breezy, sort of easy breezy, isn't he, with some of his stuff. But I completely agree with you. It's beautifully shot. It is a bit confusing. It does get me in the pit of my stomach a little bit. It's a very unsettling. It's very similar to Eyes Wide Shut. Very unsettling movie.
Yeah, there really is.
I think again, this almost made it in. There's a lot that you're mentioning almost made it in, but yeah, I really like it. But it sets me a bit on edge when I watch it.
Yeah, I can understand that. That.
I feel like Vanilla Sky is one of those kind of movies when you're an actor that you've made enough money that you can then go and make whatever kind of movie you want.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that Vanilla Sky is the kind of movie that's going to make $200 million at the box office.
I mean, it did incredibly well.
Did it?
Yeah, I always remember when it came out, and it was at the time when Empire and that, prominently would feature the letters page.
Yeah.
And the amount of people that would write in and go, I took my girlfriend to see Vanilla Sky, or I took my boyfriend to see Vanilla Sky, whichever, and we have no idea what it's about. Could you please explain?
Oh, right.
Yeah, which is, it's confusing. Yeah. Maybe read the synopsis, then watch it.
Okay. Okay.
No, because it genuinely is confusing. When you're watching it, you genuinely do get confused about, hang on, what's going on? But
yeah, because Cameron Diaz pops up, and then it's Penelope Cruz, and then it's like, then he's not, because his face is obviously a bit scarred, and then it's not, and you think, what is happening here?
Okay. Yeah. You make it sound intriguing, that's for sure.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 8 was Minority Report, which we've already spoken about. Right then, John, your number 7 then, please.
Right. Well, interestingly, it was something that has been mentioned before, and then something else was mentioned before, and I thought, well, maybe I could do a switch.
Oh.
So, because I don't like it, but it's a true groundbreaking, world-changing invention, which is the Kalashnikov.
Right.
And or prior to that, just the ability to automate the firing of bullets. with the one that rotates, whatever it's called.
Gatling gun.
Gatling gun.
The Gatling gun. The Gatling gun was the big invention that I was thinking of, that I have written about before, and I forgot to look it up. But that changed the whole nature of war, made it much more destructive, etc., etc. And it's not very nice to dwell on. So I thought I'd just give a mention and an interesting fact about the lawnmower.
Of course.
Yeah,
which Kalashnikov to lawnmower.
So sod the Gatling gun. Let's go. Let's go for the lawnmower. So it was in fact invented in Stroud, so it's got local heritage.
Wow.
And so interestingly, did you know? Because obviously you're up in the kind of the upper Cotswolds, and I'm now down in the lower Cotswolds. So the upper Cotswolds was where all the wool merchants lived, and they got all the money. And down here, where all the mills are, they made all the woolen cloth and so on and so forth. And back then, and still now, they use teasels to bring up the weft from the cloth, which then you slice off, and that's how you get a lovely billiard table, or nice woolen suit or whatever. It's because the weft's been lifted up with teasels and then chopped off, and that used to be a skilled trade. You used to have a bloke with a knife that could do that. And then in the advent of machinery, these poor chaps were really worried, because they brought in, rather than just a bloke with a knife, they brought in this system of spinning knives that could then, you just run the cloth through it, lower it onto it, and then you chop off all the bits that the teasel had raised, and so that they were kind of out of a job. And then there was a guy called Budding. So Mr. Budding was a bit of an inventor, and he looked at this and he thought, I think there's something else I could do with that. Can I borrow one of those? So he takes one of these spinning knifey things, these huge long ones, gets a small section of it, flips it, sticks a handle on it, and invents the world's first lawnmower.
Wow!
There you go.
So he was a budding inventor, you could say.
He was literally that. And the only reason I wouldn't say that is because that is a terrible joke.
But again, what other podcast would you get the words teasel and weft in the same sentence? I mean, what a great couple of words that is. Teasels and weft. Me.
Sounds like another one of those sort of crime dramas, where the teasel and weft detective agencies.
Partnerships.
Yeah.
Like a dodgy firm of solicitors, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm Dave Teasel and he's Andy Weft. With Teasel and Weft.
Oh, what's it? Delisle and Pascoe.
Yes, there you go.
I've got a Delisle and Pascoe
It's the upper and lower Cotswolds versions of Delisle and Pascoe. So just to clarify, your number 7.
That's my new folk band name.
Is it lawnmower or Kalashnikov? Which is the one you're going for?
I'm going for lawnmower, because I think the world needs to be a lovely place with nicely tended squares of grass.
No, and I suppose if you lie down on the ground, you could still cut your grass with a Kalashnikov, couldn't you?
You could, and I'm sure that if you lay down on the ground, you could do a lot of damage with a lawnmower.
Yeah. If anybody's seen The Happening, was it The Happening? No, what was the M. Night Shyamalan?
That was The Happening.
The Happening, yeah. A terrible movie, but somebody dies exactly that way.
Do they? Yeah. I have not seen that, and now I won't.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, I was going to say, you'll regret seeing that movie.
Go on then, Neil, you're number 7.
So mine's really highbrow, this invention. It's the pot noodle. Yeah, and this is a lifesaver for me, because now my son's off at uni and doing all his bits. I seem to be back and forth, finishing work and not having time to cook something proper. And I've become a real lover of the different pot noodles there are. And I think it's a great invention, because it's so easy to... Well, it was invented probably in Japan or China or somewhere like that with their quick noodles. But yeah, I'm a huge fan. Original curry all the way.
Yeah, you can't beat them. I'm actually, why bother with expensive pot noodles when you can get the 15p one with a little kind of packet of spice,
a little sachet, yeah,
with the label that you can't read. Love it.
Convenience.
And behind that is freeze drying, of course, which is an amazingly complex process, which I know nothing about.
Wow.
Well, there we are.
You stumped the expert there, Neil.
I know. Highbrow I am. Highbrow.
Indeed. In highbrow with pot noodle. There you go. Just add water. Okay. My number 7, which has got lots of water added to it, is a washing machine. Now, you can put washing machine in with a dishwasher and tumble dryer, all these things that make life easier. You know, because back in the old days where you'd be washing it with what was the thing? The washboard, obviously. And I would do it on a rock back in the old days, taking your stuff down to the river. But a washing machine is not just an amazing invention that makes things easier. It's when they go wrong, they're a pain in the ass. Like if they get blocked, they're just a pain in the ass to fix. And they're nothing but a pain in the ass. Then you're doing nothing but complaining about them. But when they work, they're amazing. And they're amazing things. Thoughts?
I've got one.
I broke one.
Oh wow! Rock and roll.
No, that's not fair. Because we had a washing machine cylinder fire pit. A great reuse job for a washing machine cylinder is to use it as fire pit. And our washing machine broke and it was rattling around. And so I thought, I'll make a fire pit. So I had a lot of, I'd call it fun, but have you tried ripping apart a metal box with your bare hands?
No.
Yeah.
It's flipping dangerous. I'll say that. Then I finally managed to get the cylinder thing out of it, but it's out of the metal box. But then it's the cylinder's in a sealed plastic box. Which I then had to smash apart. And I finally managed to smash apart the plastic box and got the cylinder out and found that the entire mechanism that was holding the cylinder onto the back wheel that spins around had rotted. The metal had rotted. And so there was literally nothing enabling this thing to spin around. And that's kind of the end of the story. It's not.
Was it therapeutic? Was it therapeutic though to smash?
Well, the irony was, having then worked through that over several weeks of trying to get this thing open, I then ended up with a washing machine fire pit. And then I realized we have a washing machine fire pit. So I had no use for it whatsoever. I could have just taken the whole thing to an event. But there is a happy ending, which is that I put it on eBay and then someone bought it, not for very much, but they said, this is the best thing you can use for washing gravel.
Really?
So how versatile is that?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I mean, it's been a while since I've washed gravel, but
yeah,
it's not something. But when you need to do it,
it's up there
you
now.
get the kit?
I know now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Hollander's
it's
gone.
educational.
Yes,
I suppose you could mine for gold with it as well. Then could you?
You could, but the gold might all fall out of the holes.
I was going to say, it have to be really big bits of gold, wouldn't it? That's not going to work. No. Okay, that's fine. We'll just leave it to washing gravel. So back to you, Stuart, for number 6.
Well, I said we'd be talking about it in a minute. My number 6 is Planes, Trains and Automobiles. I love this film. I'll freely admit now, a lot of my top 10 between here and 1, they're all quite interchangeable.
Yeah.
As is the way with all of these, because they're all equally on a par. So it was just sort of, as I enjoyed them, as I watched them, I was trying to rank them. Like I say, there's a sweetness to this film that's just, it walks that fine line between being utterly fucking stupidly ridiculous, everything that keeps happening to them, but just keeping it on that even keel where you don't drop into this film's pissing me off now. It's got amazing set pieces in it. The wanting to rent a car.
Yeah.
Just like 19 fucks in that short 2-minute thing. And just the way she turns around and was like, when he's like, what does that mean? He's like, means you're fucked.
Yeah. I actually, I can't remember where I was working at the time, but I actually memorized that whole, it became my party piece. People, where I was working with, people would go, Pav, do the Planes, Trains and Automobiles thing. And I would do the whole thing. I can't do it now, but yeah, I will talk about it a little bit more later on as a movie. But that was also the time when I would always want to be somebody else, right? So what year was it? 1987. 1987. So that would have also been around the time of, I think Moonlighting was on at the same, around that time, wasn't it? So at that time, I modeled my whole life on Steve Martin and Bruce Willis. In like what I wore, I got myself a overcoat because Steve Martin had an overcoat in Planes, Trains and Automobiles, and I wanted to dress just like Bruce Willis did and Steve Martin did. And there was something about Steve Martin in that movie. He wasn't a nice person to start with in that movie. He had a really good arc in that movie because he was
I think he's all right. You can feel his frustration building.
Oh, absolutely.
He's stuck with this guy that he can't stand, which we've all been stuck. Either, at work, you've been forced to work with that one guy or whatever.
Yeah, I'm normally the other person. I'm normally the one that's everyone's trying to get away from.
You can feel why he's becoming more and more of an arsehole as all this shit just keeps piling on him. But it's just, a huge part of it as well is John Candy's performance. John Hughes' writing as well is amazing. Really makes you fall in love with both characters. Even the small characters you kind of fall in love with, like Kevin Bacon as the guy racing for the cab.
Yes.
You're like, you prick. Just the way John Candy steals his cab at the beginning.
And it's got so much heart. I still, like, the bottom lip starts trembling near the end when hello, Mrs. Page, and I want to introduce you to my good friend Del Griffiths, and you're like, oh my god! And every time you go away is playing in the background. It's beautiful. And I think it's one of John Hughes' best movies. I think.
Yeah. Steve Martin's so good in that bit as well, where he's going off on the train and he's remembering everything. He's starting to laugh about it, and it's borderline corny, and then he starts to remember the way Del talked about his wife and the fact he'd not been home for years and all that sort of thing.
Yeah. Dream Academy, that Dream Academy song, playing those chords that are playing is beautiful. That I think that made my top 10 movie songs, or it was close to it. But yes, I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit more later on.
Yeah. I'm sure we will.
So go on then, Neil. You're number 6.
Wow, Stuart didn't put cameos in, but I did. Little Shop of Horrors. I love this musical, and I think Steve Martin is the highlight as the sadistic dentist. Excuse me. Hilarious song, hilarious performance. He chews the scenery and hams it up all the way through. And I just love it. And the fact, I love it when Bill Murray goes in, the fact that he throws him out, you sicko, right through. It's just, very funny. Yeah,
that's one of my honorable mentions for the reasons I said, but he is amazing in it.
With a musical that's full of great songs, his song is the best.
Yeah.
It's the one I go to most on the soundtrack.
Yeah, he kind of steals the show in that movie.
He does. He really does. So, that's that one.
Okay, nothing else.
There's not much. You can't really talk about the whole movie because he's only in 5 minutes of it. And spoilers to anyone who hasn't seen, comes to a sticky end or a chewy end.
That is true. But and he's one of his rare black hair.
On his motorcycle. Yeah.
Okay. And that's all you have to say on that, isn't it, Neil?
Well, there's not, like I said, it's hard to elaborate even more when it's one song basically and a little bit either end.
Yeah, that is true. Right. So my number 6 was The Jerk. Kim, 1984.
Okay, 84 was another one I struggled with because big Frankie fan, big Wham fan. So they sort of dominated a lot of it. But in the end, had to go Do They Know It's Christmas, Band-Aid.
Okay.
I mean, you can't get more iconic than that.
No, absolutely. It's
I know. I mean, just become the mainstay of every Christmas album ever released as well now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And any of the other versions, well, we'll forget the Stock Aitken and Walk.
Yeah, no, don't even go there.
But when they did the 20 years or whatever it was version, it still didn't quite have the same spark.
And it won't, will it? No. That was a moment in time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. A moment in time. And that's a very good one. That is a very good one, Kim. Go on then, Neil.
So, Kim, I did go for a Frankie song.
Okay.
Because I love this song. I even bought the 12-inch, which, again, I still have.
Yeah.
Two Tribes.
Two Tribes, yeah.
We talk about videos.
Yeah.
Frankie Goes to Hollywood videos.
I mean, wow.
You didn't see them, did you?
Not a lot of them.
No.
We didn't because they weren't allowed to play them.
No,
Unless you stayed up at 11 o'clock on Channel 4 and watched it.
That's it, and watched it, wasn't it? But this one was Reagan and Gorbachev, wasn't it, fighting?
No, Reagan and it wasn't
Brezhnev?
Gorbachev. It was
Brezhnev, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't Brezhnev.
Oh, I thought it was Gorbachev.
No, it was the guy with the white hair, wasn't it? It was
It couldn't have been Yeltsin.
Yeah, thinking.
No, because Yeltsin wasn't until like after Gorbachev.
No, it definitely wasn't Gorbachev, because Gorbachev was the one that had the thing on his head, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Brezhnev was the one with the big bushy eyebrows. It was the one. I mean, I can't go onto Google, so you need to find out who it was. But
let me quickly
have a little look.
Yeah,
but, So
talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
While I don't.
You tell us yours, Pav.
Well, I've gone for a Frankie song as well.
Yours is Relax, right?
It's not. It's The Power of Love.
Oh, The Power of Love.
Because for me, The Power of Love is not just a great Christmas song. It is a great ballad. It is. I think it was in. It might have been. It's definitely been in the top 10 of whether it's sad songs or songs that make you cry or something like that.
Wow.
For me, The Power of Love is just one of those great love songs.
Yeah.
But I bought all of Frankie's like singles on cassette single.
Right. Okay.
Remember those?
Cassette singles.
And things like Relax, Two Tribes, the whole Welcome to the Pleasure Dome.
Pleasure Dome. Yeah.
Was fantastic. It was such a great album, mainly for the fact that what was I? So I'd have been 15 at this point, and I've already made the statement that I didn't have a girlfriend at 15. But there was one of the songs on Welcome to the Pleasure Dome that the end of the song was the sound of a man and a woman having sex.
Wow.
Can you not remember that? It's grunting and groaning and stuff like that. And for a 15-year-old boy or man or young man that didn't have a girlfriend, that was very, very helpful. I'm just going to say. Because
and didn't have the internet. Yeah,
exactly. The internet was like years away.
And you found nothing in the bushes in the local park.
There was nothing in the bushes in the local park. I didn't have the nerve to try and pretend to like my balls hadn't dropped and go and say, "Excuse me, can I have that magazine up there?" I couldn't do anything like that. So it was perfect, because if your mum came in, you went, "I'm just listening to the Frankie album with the headphones on, box of Kleenex right by your side."
Come on, Eileen.
Come on, Eileen.
So it was Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
And it was Konstantin Chernenko.
Chernenko, there you go. I think he was the one between Brezhnev and
Gorbachev.
Wow.
There you go. Welcome to the political podcast. I mean, we've done everything in this podcast. We've done politics, we've done everything.
It's just a Wednesday night.
It's just a normal Wednesday night. It is. Go on then, Lindsay, on number 4 then, please.
Okay, number 4, I believe this was in one of your sound effects in the intro. It's Hey Ya by Outkast.
Nice.
It was tremendous when it came out. It was like 2003. I was like beginning in college, I think I was like a sophomore or something. And it just was one of the coolest double albums ever. And then this song in particular just transcended everything. It's still one of the happiest sounding songs, but actually if you look at the lyrics again, super dark, super sad. In the end, he's just heartbroken. And then he even says, you don't care about this, you just want to dance, and he goes on. I'm paraphrasing very badly, but I love Andre 3000. I love the video. I love he's playing all the instruments and goofing off. And I think he's one of those just insane musical geniuses that cannot be contained. I'm bummed we don't hear more from him, or maybe he's producing a lot of stuff and putting out a lot of stuff. I'm just missing it. But there was this moment in time where like he ruled the world to me. This song is just so fun in every possible way. And it also is, if you listen to it, it's the weirdest tune. Like it doesn't sound like good, but it sounds great. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's a really bizarre instrumental, but such a fun song.
I would love to know what they sound like live. Have you ever seen them live?
The same. Yes, I have. I saw them at another Coachella. I went for several years. I don't go anymore. I'm old and past all that. But I went and saw them when I was like 30, and it was just like, oh my God, Outkast is here. It's like 10 years past their prime, and it was so much fun.
Really?
Yeah, it really sounded great. I mean, that was a huge stadium thing, and or not stadium, it's a huge field you're in, and they're playing on a stage. I'm very far away because I don't want to deal with crowds, like, you know, being in the middle of people like that. I just didn't, but it was so much fun. They sounded really, really great, like spectacular.
Okay. That is the video is, like you say, fantastic. So much fun. So much fun. That's a great one. Yeah. Go on then, Neil, you're number 4.
So why wouldn't we have a list of greatest pop songs, and I haven't put the Queen of Pop in yet, so I think I ought to. Ray of Light, Madonna.
Ray of Light. Okay.
I love this song. I really, really, I think this is one of her strongest songs. It's certainly my favorite of her albums, especially now. Probably never used to be. I spoke about my love of Madonna in the early years, you know, the Borderlines, the Into the Groove and everything. I absolutely love that period, and I've kept all the 12-inch vinyl from the time and everything. But Ray of Light is the album that I think is still her finest album. Was it William Orbit, wasn't it, that one?
If you say so.
Yeah. You're not a fan of Ray of Light, the album?
No, it's great. I prefer her early stuff. I mean, Material Girl was a song that was on my list, right, as like a great pop song. But this Madonna, isn't it? You can't.
Yeah, the Queen.
It's just I wish she would just like quit now, and that'd be it. You know, so we can just remember her how she was.
I think Ray of Light was the last great Madonna album. Like, I don't think there's been one since that.
Music. Some people argue that music is good. But I didn't. Yeah, but
I had Like a Prayer on mine up until this morning again. It's probably number 11 or 12. And that's my go-to karaoke song. I do not have like a good singing range. Like, there's a very specific range I can hit, and Like a Prayer is in that range, and most songs are not. So I love that.
I mean, that was both of our favorite 1980, whatever it was, number 1 last week, wasn't it? Like a Prayer.
What's that, sorry? Like a Prayer, Prayer was on
I think that's my favorite Madonna song, without a doubt. But I'd have gone for Material Girl.
But there's the thing, there's so many of her songs that I absolutely love, like I said, and you know, there's not many records that I kept from the 80s of pop genre that I thought, I'm going to keep that. But all the Madonna ones I really did keep, and yeah, I think she's great. But I will say, Pav, do watch that last live show. It's been broadcast on wherever. You'll catch it somewhere. And she did it like for 2 nights in London at the Palladium or how. Yeah. It's a proper theatrical show, and it's phenomenally good.
Where did you see that?
It was on, I think it was Sky Arts.
Right.
I think. But it was so good. I started watching it at the beginning, and it was like 3 hours long, because obviously the commercial breaks and everything.
Yeah.
But I didn't stop. I watched the whole bloody thing. I thought it was so good.
Wow, that's not like you, Neil.
No, I'm a 5-minute man and done.
That's the tag for the show.
Like every time, he's always got to lower the tone.
It's your mind that took it elsewhere, isn't it?
I don't think so, Neil. I think everybody listening to this will have had the same thought.
Dirty people.
Dirty people. Okay, my number 4 was also part of the one of the clips from earlier on. It's Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars. Now, I think I could have chosen quite a lot of different Bruno Mars songs. The reason I chose this one is there's a specific piece of video of our family that is one of my favorite pieces of video ever. We all went and saw Bruno Mars live. And I can't remember which one of my daughters, we were doing a selfie or a TikTok or whatever it was, just at the point when it's Don't Believe Me, Just Rock or whatever it is. And we're all dancing. And it is just, it makes my heart warm every time I see that video, because it's all of us all together, all joined in this like one song of like, just loving the music and just dancing to it, and it is just my favorite video, one of my favorite videos ever. I won't put that one on the video playlist because it's a bit creepy to put.
It's private to you.
To put a home video on there, but it's one of the things that makes this song that much more special to me. But I think Bruno Mars is like a modern day Prince. I think the guy is so talented, and the fact that he can play any instrument, he can sing anything, whether he's like covering an Adele song or whatever. He just seems to be able to do anything, and his Super Bowl halftime show is phenomenal. It is absolutely amazing. If you ever get a chance to see it, I'll put that on the show, on the video playlist. He's just one of those guys that, you know, part of me thinks it's amazing, and part of me thinks, you son of a gun, and you've got everything, you know, you can do everything, and you've got it all wrapped up in a little 5'6" package. Bless him. So Lindsay will ask the question again. A fan of Bruno Mars, or?
I really like Bruno Mars. Again, I don't have like a bunch of his albums, but I have a lot of his singles on playlists and things. To me, he's the new Michael Jackson more than the. I mean, again, I don't have the understanding of Prince that everybody in this chat has, but to me, he's Michael 2.0, and hopefully not creepy. So that's.
Well, time will tell on that, I'm afraid. Okay, so Crystal, Elton John and Bernie Taupin was your number 3.
Yep.
So Neil, your number 3.
So if I say this name, Mark Oliver Everett, does anybody know who that is? No. He's known as E, and he's from the band Eels. Do you know the band, Crystal?
No, I have not heard of them.
LA band. Another band that I've been with from the journey from the start. Of course, I was in my 20s. They released their album in the mid-90s. Loved it, and have subsequently followed him since. And again, he writes to what I feel to me, if that makes sense. So a lot of his songs resonate hugely with me and what's going on and what's being done and things like that. So yeah, I just had to put him there because of the way I followed his career, been to see him live and everything. Again, I know they're not for everyone, and they do very much. He does very much. It's either full out. I'm not going to say rocky. Let's say a full out funky tune, or he does a very good ballad. I don't know. I admire his songwriting immensely.
That's from Eels, yeah.
Eels, yeah.
Right.
Not to get confused with the Mighty Boosh's Eels.
Okay.
There you are.
Fair enough. He's one of your favourites. You've mentioned him on that band
numerous times. Yeah, and well, you know how many times I've been to see them. I even took my son to see them as his very first gig.
There you go. Wow. He's been thanking you ever since, hasn't he?
Oh, he loved it. Yeah, well, it's giving him the bug. So
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Okay. My number 3, if you're going to have songs and songwriters, anybody that has listened to all of our music podcasts will know I have to have this man in because I love him. And it's Lin-Manuel Miranda. It doesn't matter. Any angle that I can get Lin-Manuel Miranda in there. If you want to talk about great songs, but songs that are complicated, that how the hell did he write these songs and put these songs together? Even if you just talk about Hamilton and you look at those and you think, how did he do that? How did him as a man, as flesh and blood and bones and muscles and sinews and brains and just able to come up with things like that? And then also go on to everything else that he's done, whether it's written for Moana or Encanto. I'm in his groove. As I've said before, anything that guy does, I am just there for. And it's just crazy. It was crazy that it took me like a year and a half to watch Encanto. It was crazy that I didn't really think it was because of lockdown that I watched Hamilton the first time. And now I'm in love with everything that man does. So I don't know what anybody else feels about him, but
I'm right there with you. I was fortunate enough to see Hamilton on Broadway. I did not see original cast,
right? So
I did not see Lin there, but I am right there with you. I'm in love with everything he does.
He's a great songwriter, and the fact that he was it last year with Encanto, he managed to get a hit. with the song, which has been a long time coming from a Disney film, you know, that it was at number one for however long.
Yeah, we don't talk about Bruno. Yeah,
that's it. It was huge.
And it was really strange because obviously with the fact that we've got like little grandkids that like just devour Disney films, and you have to put them on just to keep them quiet.
Yeah.
So I'd put Encanto on for like my granddaughter and just think, right, I'll leave her to it. And, you know, and it didn't even occur to me that it was Lin-Manuel Miranda until I saw a documentary, like a little making of. I thought I didn't realize he was involved in that. So I sat down the next time with my granddaughter and I was bawling my eyes out because it was so beautiful. But some of the songs are just like great, energetic, you know, songs. But you know, I can't remember the name of the song now, but the sort of the couple of sad ones that are in it, and I was just in pieces. And he's got that knack with me, you know. It's Quiet Uptown, which is the one from Hamilton. That when we went and saw it in London, that must have been a couple of years ago now. Luckily, everybody was wearing masks because it was still COVID times. So nobody could see me blubbering and crying like just a little wuss when it's Quiet Uptown. It's a beautiful song, but it is heartbreaking. I won't spoil it for anybody. Have you seen Hamilton yet, Neil?
Hands up, apologies.
Oh, come on, you've got to do it. If not, I'm gonna come around your place and sit there with you and make you watch it.
part of me wants, because you know I do like to go to the theatre a lot.
Yeah.
So part of me wants to go and see it rather than watch it on the telly. So I've put it on the list for next year to go to the theatre. But
I would say watch it on the TV first because it is the OG cast.
Yeah. But then if it's that good and then the live version, I know it should be.
The live version was fantastic, but they're just not as good as the OG cast. They're just not. Right. And that's no disrespect to the period. Yeah, no disrespect to the guys and gals that are doing it. It is they are fantastic, but you got to watch it with the original crowd. But yeah, so number 3 for me, Lin-Manuel Miranda. Nancy, your number 2, please.
Number 2 is Hurt by Johnny Cash.
That's my number 2.
Hey!
That's my number 2.
Yes.
What do you want to say about it?
You know, like Johnny Cash in and of himself is a unique character. He's got a lot of music, a lot of history, and just a big stamp in the music industry, whether it's country, rock, or whatever. And this song is totally something for him to tackle and do, and he did a great rendition of it. And like he is like a perfect like companion for Trent Reznor with singing this song, because you can feel from both of them like the energy and the hurt and the despair and the just total breakdown of, you know, what's going on in the song. And he can make it sad and depressing too, you know? So, you know,
I think
and then just the guitar playing. Oh,
yeah.
You know,
it's weird because like I was saying about people like John Bon Jovi and that, where their voices have gone, and Johnny Cash has got one of those voices that you know who it is as soon as they start singing. But because he's so old and sort of almost frail and sort of almost at death's door, it is perfect for singing this song. If it had been him singing the way he sings Ring of Fire, it wouldn't work as a song.
No, it wouldn't.
But because he's like fragile and sort of like he's had his life, it just, the emotion in the song is perfect. And I'm not a Nine Inch Nails fan. There's another one of the bands.
What?
Yeah, it's another one of those bands that I don't understand. I've listened to some of their song and it always feels to me like there's a chord that's out of tune in every single song of theirs. But so I don't understand it. I don't get it. In my very simple and neat and tidy brain, there shouldn't be like a little quirky note or something. But this song is like it is heartbreaking, and the video as well. I think we spoke about it on our top 10 music videos, didn't we?
We've spoken about it quite a lot on here. I think it came up in the movie songs and all sorts. But I mean, I'm not going to spoil it.
No.
Yeah,
Don't.
Yeah, but it's his voice in it. It just sums up the title of the song.
Absolutely.
And that whole album is amazing. You know,
Yeah.
and some of the songs that I think he did a Depeche Mode song too.
Oh, did
he? Yeah,
he did Personal Jesus.
Yeah,
was that on that album, or was that the one after?
It's on one of those.
Yeah, because he did the two, didn't he? He did the one with her on, and then it's on one of those.
Yeah.
They're both beautiful albums, aren't they?
Yeah,
very good. Okay, so Neil, your number 2 was "Man Who Sold the World."
Yes,
by Nirvana. My number 2 was "Hurt," Johnny Cash. Okay, the last year then, Lisa, 1979.
Okay. First of all, this was their debut single.
Ooh.
6 weeks in the US, never higher than 6th in the UK.
Don't say that like it's my fault. Why did you say that with such vitriol, like it was my fault?
I felt like it was.
Oh, well, it probably was, yeah. I should have gone out and bought it 100,000 times and it would have been number 1.
It was a Capitol Records' fastest gold status debut album since the Beatles.
Wow.
And it is My Sharona by the Knack. So,
there you go.
I'm sure you've heard of it before.
Absolutely, yes.
But you know, one of the interesting little trivia things that I was reading is Quincy Jones was working on the album Thriller with Michael Jackson. And he said to Michael Jackson, "We need a song like My Sharona."
Oh, right.
And so he wrote Beat It.
No.
Yes. Isn't that cool? Beat it.
Oh, dear. I mean, I wouldn't have put those two songs in the same sort of breath, to be fair.
No, but I mean, you could kind of see a little bit of that beat that he's got going.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
I guess maybe it was that energy, but Quincy Jones liked the song so much. That's where the inspiration came for that. And then the other thing, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Weird Al Yankovic's cover of My Bologna.
That's right. But then he also did Eat It as well.
Did Eat It.
So he also did a cover, like his own version of the song that was like inspired by the song. What a genius Weird Al is.
Did you see the movie?
I haven't seen it yet. No, I haven't. I've heard it's very, very good.
I'm going to reserve opinion until you see it, and then we'll talk.
Okay, fair enough.
I feel like maybe I should go back and watch it again because, you know, of everyone's comments. I feel like I might have missed something. So, but yeah, I'll wait until you've seen it, and then we'll talk.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Absolutely. Okay.
One more thing about My Sharona.
Yeah.
It regained attention when George W. Bush, former president, they realized he had it playing on his iPod.
Oh, really? He worked
one of the songs on his iPod. So that's where it got some fame later in the, I don't know, when was he president? 2000, maybe I have it here, 2005.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So there you go. Presidential seal of approval. Okay, so Neil's 1979 was Pink Floyd, Another Brick in the Wall, Part 2. He's got to get Pink Floyd in there somehow. Yeah. Even if it's a movie podcast, he's got to get a Pink Floyd in there somehow. And my 1979 was Video Killed the Radio Star by Buggles. I mean, to be fair, it's about as 80s a song that you can get in the 70s. It's one of those great, great tunes. And I'm not sure... It was only number 1 for 1 week, yeah. And it was the first ever item played on MTV.
That's right.
I didn't realize that.
I had a friend in high school at the time whose dad worked with MTV. And so he had mentioned to all of us that there was going to be this new thing on TV. And so we all gathered to watch the premiere video on the first night at his house. And it was, you know, I think we all just were left there with our mouths just wide open, like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then the number of videos that came after that, oh my God. I mean, I don't know if some of those songs would have been successful had it not been for the videos from MTV.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. It became something else for the acts to think about, wasn't it? It wasn't just about how the song sounded. It was how the song looked as well.
Exactly. A lot like this podcast.
A lot like this podcast. Absolutely. You're missing out if you're only listening to it. You should be going with the YouTube version where it's in full HD color. We've got color, you know, I mean, it's like, you know, sound coming into both ears. It's amazing. This technology is just unbelievable.
On Zoom.
10,